Carl Ostenson here, and right now I'm going to go through something I'm going to call the RMD Maximizer, okay? This is only for certain people, it's not for everybody, and this would be for someone who just reached 70 and a half, and now they have to start taking out the required distributions. But the thing is, they don't want to, they don't need the money, and the only reason they're going to start taking it out is because the IRS is going to force them to start taking it out. And what their real goal is, they have enough income coming in from other sources. Their real goal is they want to pass this IRA or 401k or 403b money, they want to pass it on to the kids and grandkids. That's their goal. So they don't want it, they don't need it, they just want to pass the money on. What can they do to maximize things? So let's take a look at an example. For our example, let's use someone who's 70 years old and they have a $300,000 IRA that the IRS is going to force them to start taking out the required distribution. They don't want the required distribution, they don't need it, but they're going to have to take it because they have to. And their first RMD when they turn 70 and a half is going to be approximately $10,000. So in the back of their mind, they're thinking, how can I maximize this situation to pass the most money out of my family? But also in the back of their mind, maybe they're a little bit worried about future health care costs. So they still kind of need access to the money in case something comes up health-wise, but their real goal is to maximize it to the kids, but also have some money in case their health declines down the road to help pay the bills. So now let's take a look at some numbers based on our example. So here's our person who is now 70 years old. They have a $300,000 IRA, and they know their first required distribution is going to be about $10,000. Their IRA could be anywhere. It could be in mutual funds or the bank or in a fixed annuity or stocks or bonds. It could be anywhere. But their first RMD is going to be about $10,000. So if they were to die the next day, that's exactly what their family would inherit. And as time goes on, let's say it's in the market, their IRA is going to go up and down in value, and they're going to take out an RMD according to the value. So they look at it and they say, I don't need the required distribution. Is there a way to leverage it to maximize what I pass on to my family? So let's take a look at it. And these are actual numbers. I got quotes on everything, but your individual case may vary depending upon your age and things like that. So if they were to take the required minimum distribution and buy a life insurance policy, what would they get? Well, a male age 70, standard non-smoker, could get a $290,000 policy guaranteed for life. That same female would get a little bit more. She'd get a $336,000 policy guaranteed for life. So let's take a look at what that does. If they were to die the next year, how much would the family get? Well, they had to use $10,000 to pay for the life insurance policy, so that would leave them $290,000 over here. But let's say it was a male, they also added on $290,000 worth of life insurance, $290,000. So if they were to die the next year, the family would get $580,000 like that, you know, and the life insurance is contractually guaranteed. So they definitely maximized the death benefit that went to their family by almost doubling. And remember, life insurance goes to the family tax-free, okay? So let's take a look at, let's say they live a long time. So they're living a long time, they're taking their RMD, they're paying for the life insurance policy, and then they get sick. So they're still living, but now they need money. Well, some of these new life insurance policies have long-term care and health benefits as well. While they're still living, if they were diagnosed with a terminal illness, they could get up to 75% of their death benefit for themselves while they're still living to pay bills or do whatever they want with. So in our male example, even while he's still living, he could get $217,000 to help pay for bills. And remember, he still has whatever's left in his IRA over here too. This is in addition to that. A critical illness would be something like a heart attack or cancer. They could get up to 25%, up to $50,000 accelerated to them, and that resets every 6 months, so they can do it again. So if they have a heart attack, they can get money out of their account while they're still living. And remember, they still have their IRA, whatever's left over here. This is all in addition to that. And the big thing that people are worried about is home health care, assisted living, things like that. This also has a long-term care benefit, whereas if you can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, or if you get a cognitive impairment, just like any other long-term care insurance, they could accelerate up to 24% of their death benefit every year for 4 years. So in this case, they'd get long-term care benefits of $69,600 a year for 4 years. And remember, They still have whatever is left in their IRA. So all they're doing is taking their RMD that they don't even want or need and leveraging it to maximize what can go to the family, income tax free, and maximize what they could get healthcare wise in case they run into some sickness. And all the time they still have whatever's left in their IRA over here. So that was pretty cool. But let's see if it could get even better. So let's take a look at what if they move that $300,000 and instead of looking at just taking the minimum required distribution, what if we set it up where they would get maximum amount of income from it guaranteed for the rest of their life? So let's look at moving that into a revocable hybrid annuity that's going to pay out the maximum amount of income. What would the numbers look like then? Well, it would kick out $18,792 per year. That's an actual quote. Again, it may vary depending upon company or your age or things like that. But in our example, that's a quote, $18,792. We only need $10,000 to pay for the life insurance. So that leaves them $8,700 left over. What do they do with that? Well, they could use that money to pay taxes. They could use that as a travel account. I mean, how fun would that be just to make sure you travel every year with your grandkids and you got a little $8,000 to travel wherever you want. Or my niece just graduated college. I know she appreciated a little walking around money. Whatever you do with it, this $18,792 is guaranteed for the rest of your life. You still have your IRA account here too. This hasn't gone anywhere. It may go up or down in value as time goes on, but it's earning interest as you're taking out the $18,792, okay? So that buys the life insurance, nothing changes there. And the life insurance also has the health benefits, nothing changes there. But some of these annuities have what are called healthcare doublers, where in the event that you need long-term care or assisted living or things like that, the amount of your income will double, usually for up to 5 years. So let's say in our example, our male or female got sick. Let's look at the male, okay? So he's sick now. He still has whatever's left in his IRA, and he has his life insurance. But now let's look at what these policies are going to do to provide him with money for assisted living or whatever he needs. He can get $69,600 from the life insurance policy plus an additional $18,792 because the income doubles for up to 5 years because he qualifies healthcare wise. So here's a way, again, all we're looking at doing is you don't want your RMD anyways, let's maximize it, okay? In any of these examples, you still have an IRA account. You still have a lump sum that's either going up or down in value. You still have your IRA. You're taking your RMD. You're leveraging it into life insurance. And you could do it, you keep the money in the bank and do it, or you could look at one of these things that'll pay out maximum income. It'll give you a little bonus every year to spend however you want or pay taxes with it. And it'll also give you extra money in the event that you need long-term care. So all that sounds great, but what are some of the negatives of doing something like this? Well, the first negative is you have to qualify for the life insurance, and that may be a problem for some people depending upon your health. Now, you don't have to be perfectly healthy, but depending upon your health, you may or may not qualify for the life insurance. And if you don't qualify, then that would negate the whole program. The second negative is those premiums. In our example, it was $10,000 a year. If you want to see some numbers based on you, it could be more, it could be less, depending upon your situation. But in our example of $10,000, they have to pay those premiums every single year. So that'd be a negative as well. The only exception to that would be is if they do go on claim, meaning that they get some of the long-term care while they're still living, or the terminal illness, or any of those additional living benefits. As long as they're on claim, they waive the premiums, okay? As long as you're healthy, you're paying them, but if you're getting some of the claims while you're living, they waive the premiums. And then another negative, if you were to use option 2, or the annuity to fund this thing, annuities have their own pros and cons. The cons would be things like surrender charges and their long-term and all of that. So you have to weigh the pros and cons before you do something like this. I want to say thank you for watching the video. If you thought it was helpful, or if you know anyone that might find some use for it, please feel free to pass it along. Take care, and we'll see you again.